His phone buzzed on a nightstand, a familiar sound that had recently become a source of comfort. But as his fingers closed around the cool metal, he saw it wasn't a loving message from Isabella. It was a screen recording of what he had just done. The intimate trust she had so carefully built over months of conversation shattered in a single, horrifying instant. His heart hammered against his ribs. A cold sweat slicked his skin. Before he could even process the violation, a second message followed. The tone was no longer warm and affectionate, but impossibly cold and cruel. The loving woman he thought he knew was gone. In her place was a blackmailer. A voice note confirmed it. A deep, menacing man's voice, distorted and guttural. "We have your video," it growled. "Pay us $500,000, or it goes to your ex-wife, your kids, your business partners, and everyone you know. Your life will be over." My name is James Smith. After witnessing how professional predators destroy innocent lives across America, I decided to fight back. This channel is a collection of thousands of real cases, hidden tactics, and voices of victims who were silenced. I'm here to be your shield in the digital world, because the best way to stop a scammer is to know their next move before they make it. Let's dive into the dark side of digital connection. So how did Mark, a successful architect, a man who designed comfortable, safe homes for others, find himself trapped in a digital nightmare with no escape? It started where it always does, with simple, deeply human need for connection. To the outside world, Mark seemed to have it all. He was a respected partner in his architectural firm and lived in a beautiful house. He had designed himself, a monument to his professional success. But that house, with its clean lines and expansive windows, felt profoundly empty. His marriage had ended amicably years earlier, but the warmth had gone with it. His kids were grown and building lives of their own. His work, once a passion, had settled into a predictable routine. The nights were the worst. The profound silence of his perfect home was a constant, deafening reminder that he was alone. So, like millions of others, he turned to the internet. He reactivated an old social media account, hoping to reconnect with college friends, or maybe, just maybe, meet someone new. He wasn't naive. He was a cautious man by nature, a planner who thought in blueprints and foundations. He believed he was being careful, but his honest, unvarnished desire for companionship made him the perfect target. And that deep, aching loneliness is exactly what these predators are hunting for. They scour social media for profiles of people who are divorced, widowed, or proudly single. Mark's honest profile, with its pictures of him hiking and smiling with his grown kids, was like a flare in the dark, and a predator was about to answer his call. Her name was Isabella. Her profile was a masterpiece of deception, a woman with a warm, disarming smile and kind eyes that seemed to hold a world of experience. Her bio said she was an art gallery curator from Europe, temporarily in the States. Her messages were intelligent, witty, and deeply engaging. She didn't just flatter him. She asked about his work, showing a keen interest in the nuances of his designs. For Mark, a man who spent his life creating spaces for others, it felt like he had finally met someone who wanted to understand his own world. It felt like fate. The relationship moved at warp speed, a classic tactic known as love bombing. The goal is to shower a target with such intense, overwhelming affection that it forges a powerful emotional bond before they have time for rational thought. Soon, Isabella's good morning, my love texts were the first thing Mark saw when he woke up, and her sweet dreams messages were the last thing he saw at night. She was celebrating his wins, calming his fears, and making him feel seen in a way he hadn't in years. When she started saying, "I love you," Mark, a man starved of those words, fell completely. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere, flapping in a hurricane of feigned affection. Isabella always had a plausible excuse to avoid a live video call. The first time, she claimed the camera on her laptop was broken, and she was waiting for repair. A week later, she was traveling for work, and the hotel's Wi-Fi connection was terrible. It's page one of the scammer's handbook, a simple but effective strategy designed to hide their real identity. Then came the isolation play. Isabella told Mark she had to leave unexpectedly for a special project on an offshore oil rig to finish a major art installation contract. It's a common and brilliant story scammers use to explain why they can't meet and why their communication might be spotty. Isolated on the rig, her messages grew more intense, more desperate. She was lonely. He was her only comfort. She created a pressure cooker of emotion and dependency, all designed to lower his guard for the final, devastating move. Mark's world imploded. Paralyzed by a tidal wave of shame and fear, he didn't pay the $500,000 demand. He couldn't. He thought it couldn't get worse. He was wrong. The criminals, having confirmed his identity and his network, made good on their threat with chilling efficiency. The first email went to his ex-wife, then to his children, then the most professionally devastating blow to his business partner of 20 years. That private, vulnerable moment, intended for one person, was twisted into a weapon of mass humiliation and sent to everyone he cared about. His partner, fearing a scandal that would destroy their firm's reputation, didn't rage or yell. He was cold, clinical. He forced Mark out of the company they had built together, ending a lifelong professional relationship in a single, brutal conversation. His children were horrified. His daughter called, her voice trembling with a mixture of shock and disgust. His attempts to explain were met with a wall of confusion and hurt. The trust he had spent a lifetime building with them was gone in an afternoon. Mark shut himself away, unplugging his landline and silencing his cell phone, terrified of the next notification. He felt foolish, exposed, and utterly alone, trapped in the very same crushing loneliness the scammer had so expertly exploited from the start. A month after the video was sent, a neighbor noticed that mail was piling up at Mark's door and his newspapers were left unread in the driveway. After getting no answer, she called the police for a wellness check. They found Mark in his home office, surrounded by the blueprints of the beautiful, orderly buildings he had designed. He had taken his own life. On the desk, placed neatly next to a family photograph, was a short and signed note with just 2 words: "I'm sorry." An apology to his children for the shame he felt he'd brought them, and to himself for letting hope make him a target. Tragically, this story is not rare. Law enforcement agencies warn that the psychological toll of these extortion schemes is immense, creating a sense of hopelessness that can be fatal. For some victims, the emotional devastation is far worse than any financial loss, making them feel like there is no way out. Mark's story is a devastating example of what has become a massive global industry. In 2024 alone, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center received reports of over $16.6 billion in losses from cybercrime. That's more than the GDP of dozens of countries. Stolen through deception. People over 60 like Mark suffer the most, with reported losses nearing $5 billion. These aren't lone wolves operating from a basement. They're organized criminal enterprises using sophisticated technology and predatory psychology as their weapons. So, how do you protect yourself from becoming the next Mark? First, be deeply skeptical of any online relationship that moves incredibly fast. Real intimacy takes time to build. Predators will groom you for weeks or months with constant attention to build intense, unearned trust. Second, always verify who you're talking to. Don't accept excuses. Insist on a live video call early in the relationship. If they resist, that is your answer. Use a reverse image search on their profile pictures to see if they've been stolen from someone else's profile. Third, never send compromising photos or videos to someone you haven't met in person, no matter how much you trust them. And never, ever send money. Common lies involve needing cash for a sudden financial problem, unexpected medical fees for a child, or travel expenses to finally come and see you. Finally, secrecy is a scammer's best friend. If someone you meet online is pressuring you to keep the relationship a secret from your friends and family, that is a huge red flag. They are isolating you on purpose. Talk to people you trust. An outside perspective can see the danger you can't. If you or someone you know becomes a victim of this kind of extortion, do not panic and do not pay. Paying almost never stops the threats. In their eyes, it just confirms they have a paying customer, and the demands will likely increase. Stop all communication immediately. Block them, but do not delete the profile or the messages. Save all the evidence. Every message, every photo, every transaction request. Then, report the crime to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3, at ic3.gov and contact your local police department. You are not alone and you are not to blame. In this world, skepticism isn't pessimism. It's a shield. Let Mark's story be more than a tragedy. Let it be a warning that saves someone else from the same heartbreak and devastation. To learn how to spot these tactics before they become tragedies, subscribe to our channel. The best way to stop a scammer is to know their next move before they make it.